All right, and we are back here on the GSMC Football Podcast. And for the final part of the show, we are going to take a look now at the playoff bracket for the 2024-2025 playoffs. And yeah, so everything is finalized now. First game will be on Saturday, and it will be the LA Chargers against the Houston Texans. And yeah, these teams didn't play each other in the regular season. And what's kind of funny, if I can find the tweet. So for a while now, the Texans, they just seem to always play on Saturday at 3:30. They're always the game that seems to start off the playoffs. It's been like that for a while, and it's going to be like that once again. And of course, you have with the Chargers, they made the playoffs a couple years ago. They had that epic collapse against the Jaguars. Things have changed since then. Brandon Staley is not the head coach anymore. It is now Jim Harbaugh. Justin Herbert is still the quarterback. And the Chargers, they exceeded expectations this year. I had them at 9 wins. They ended up winning 11 games and making the playoffs. And Jim Harbaugh has already turned this team around. And they will be taking on a Texans team that clinched the AFC South. They'll be hosting this game. But they've been kind of a disappointment this year. CJ Stroud is in a sophomore slump. He has not played like he did last year. Texans are also dealing with some injuries. Stephon Diggs they brought in to be a difference maker, and he was playing well for them before he got hurt. And then you also had Tank Dell once again suffer a season-ending injury, and it's a pretty significant injury because now he's going to be out probably all of next year. And, who knows if he comes back. So it's just, they've been kind of a disappointment. But again, some of it has just not been their fault. Injuries, it happens to everybody. But Stroud has to play better. And, he's going to be going up against a good defense in the Chargers. Chargers have a good defense. And I still think, like I've been saying it, the Chargers I still think are a year away. But I do think that this is a game that they could definitely win. I'm not going to make any picks, but I'm just saying this is a game they could definitely win. I like the matchup for the Chargers here. I think this could be... I think it's going to be competitive. Stroud's going to have to step up, though. He's going to have to step up. And then the night game, and there's snow in the forecast, it's going to be on Amazon Prime. So the Chargers-Texans game will be on CBS. This game will be on Amazon Prime, and that is the Ravens and the Steelers. So they'll be matching up for the third time this season. Right now, the Ravens open up as 9.5-point favorites. The Steelers have now dropped 4 games in a row. They lost to the Bengals on Saturday. In the previous 3 games, they lost to the Chiefs, the Ravens, and the Eagles. They are not going into the playoffs with momentum. And it's like the reverse of last year where they won their final 3 games. And I know they got bounced down in the first round by the Bills, but they at least had like some momentum going into the playoffs. Now they have no momentum going into the playoffs. They've lost 4 in a row, and now they're playing a team that smacked them around a couple weeks ago. And, the Mike Tomlin critics have come out in full force because the Steelers were 10-3 at one point, and they have dropped 4 straight. They had a chance to win the division, host the playoff game. Now they're back to how it's been for years now. They get into the playoffs as a wild card team, and they could get knocked down in the first round. Now, this is the third meeting between these two teams. The Steelers, they got the best of them the first time, kicking 6 field goals. And then it was a competitive game for a little bit between them in Baltimore, but then the Ravens pulled away. They ended up winning 34-17. You had a pick 6 in that game. Russell Wilson threw. I mean, anything can happen. It's AFC North football. Who knows? Maybe third time around, this game is closer. Maybe it comes down to a field goal. I don't know. But the Ravens are rolling offensively. And, this is a playoff game. Lamar Jackson's going to have to, step up here in the playoffs. Because, the playoffs have not been kind to him. Now, he does have Derrick Henry this time around, and, Derrick Henry, the first time Lamar won MVP, tormented him in the playoffs. Now Lamar doesn't have to worry about that. He's got Derrick Henry on his side. So, we'll see how this game goes. We move on to the games for Sunday. So, to get us started, this is a Jim Nantz, Tony Romo vehicle, I'm sure. And that is the Buffalo Bills and the Denver Broncos. So the Broncos are in. They won 38-0 yesterday against the Chiefs backups. Bo Nix played really well. I think he had 4 touchdown passes in the game. Yeah, 4 touchdown passes. He went 26 of 29, 321 yards, had 47 yards rushing. He finishes his rookie campaign 29 touchdowns to 12 picks. It's not bad. The Broncos exceeded expectations. I had them winning 5 games. I didn't even have them sniffing the playoffs. But give him credit. Give Sean Payton a lot of credit. The defense has played well this year. And Bo Nix had a solid rookie year. And they'll be going up against the favorite when it comes to the MVP in Josh Allen. It's an interesting game. The Broncos, are they going to be able to keep up with Josh Allen and that Bills offense? Is the Broncos defense going to be able to, maybe limit Josh Allen to keep this game close? I think a key for the Broncos is trying to run the football. Use that ground game to your advantage. If you do that, keep Josh Allen off the field. They have a puncher's chance in this game. I definitely think they do. I think it could be a good game. It's got the potential for it. How is Bo Nix going to do in his first career playoff game? On Sunday you got 2 rookie quarterbacks playing. So we'll see how it goes there. The middle game, you got the Packers and the Eagles. Now, still got to keep an eye on Jalen Hurts. My guess is he is going to play. These two teams met way back in Week 1. So actually, on Sunday, we got 2 rematches from Week 1. The Brazil game was the Packers and the Eagles. So now they'll be playing in Philly. Packers, yesterday they ended up losing to the Bears on a last-second field goal by Cairo Santos. Jordan Love got hurt in that game. Elbow injury, although it doesn't seem too serious because Matt LaFleur was debating on putting him back in because Malik Willis took over, and they were thinking about putting him back in because Packers, didn't want to play Philly. The Commanders ended up winning anyway, so it really didn't matter. But if the Commanders ended up losing to Dallas, maybe Matt LaFleur would have considered putting him back in. But yeah, it was a sloppy game for the Packers. They beat themselves against the Bears yesterday. There was a kickoff return. They turned the ball over as well. They beat themselves in that game, and then they just couldn't stop the Bears on that final drive. But they'll be taking on the Eagles again. They'll be taking on Saquon Barkley in that ground game, along with the stars that they have at receiver. And the Packers, on defense, you're missing some guys. Jaire Alexander's out for the year. They miss him. And Christian Watson, suffered a knee injury yesterday, and it's not looking good for him. And they were without Romeo Doubs. And supposedly, if Romeo Doubs would have played yesterday, Christian Watson wouldn't have played because he was still a little banged up. So, just not a good game for the Packers yesterday. And they get off to these slow starts. You can't afford to do that against the Eagles. Now, the Eagles have a habit of, at times, playing down to their competition. Now, the Packers are a really good team. So, if the Eagles are struggling on offense, the Packers are a good team, but the Packers can't afford to get off to a slow start in this game. They got to come out fast. And I know they like to establish the run with Josh Jacobs, but got to get that passing game going. And I know I said that about the Eagles not too long ago, but Packers got to get their passing game going. They got to start fast. Now, they're the 7 seed once again. They're playing the 2 seed in the Eagles. Now, last year, the Packers, they were the 7 seed, and they took on the 2 seed in the Cowboys, and they beat them. So now they're taking on another NFC East opponent. Now, it's definitely going to be tougher in this game than it was last year, but maybe the Packers pull it off again. Who knows? Like I said, I'll be making my picks on Friday. Then we got the Commanders and the Bucks. We talked about that game a little bit earlier in the show. These two teams met in week 1. Right now, the forecast is 59 degrees. Doesn't seem like there's any rain at the moment. This game could be high scoring. Jane Daniels put together a solid rookie campaign as well, 25 touchdowns to 9 picks. He also, on the season, I don't have the rushing touchdown stats in front of me. Oh yeah, he had 6 rushing touchdowns on the season. Baker Mayfield 41 touchdowns to 16 picks. I think Jane Daniels will have a better game than he did back in week 1, because in week 1, if we go back, so they lost that game 37-20. Jane Daniels 184 yards passing. He had 2 rushing touchdowns. He had 88 yards on the ground. Baker Mayfield had 289 yards passing and 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. It's definitely going to be a different game. I think Jane Daniels, you're going to have to throw for more yards in this game to keep up with that Bucs offense. Like I said earlier in the show, I have my concerns about the Bucs defense going into the playoffs. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. But that ends off Sunday. That'll be the NBC game. And then finally, this game's on ABC, the Monday night game, Vikings and the Rams. So the Rams did win on that Thursday night. That was back in, I think it was, what was it, week 13? That was back in, even further than that, week 8. Really, that was week 8? Wow. I feel like it was, more recent, but I guess not. Rams ended up winning that game. They got Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp back for that game. They looked like a different offense. Although their offense, their starters didn't play yesterday, but their offense has kind of struggled in recent weeks. But I expect them to have a better showing in this game on Monday. And I would hope that the Vikings have a better showing on Monday, because last night was not good. But yeah, this game definitely is going to go differently. I don't know about the outcome, but I think we will see the Vikings step up. And I expect Darnold to have a better game than he did on Sunday or yesterday. But we'll have to wait and see. But, the playoffs are going to be good. There's some good matchups here early on. Like I said, I don't want to give away too much because, I want to save it for Friday when I make my picks. But that's what we got for the playoff bracket. Let me know what you guys think. What is your favorite matchup going into the weekend? Let me know in the comments. And with that is all the time that we have for today. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure to check out all the other shows as well. Make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the video. And until next time, I'm Kenneth Grunfelder signing off from the GSMC Football Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Have a good day, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Take care.